I just had a thought as you were speaking. I'm going to talk through a couple wrong phrases that couples use or phrases that aren't grounded in truth. As you were speaking, I thought, there's a phrase out there that I'll hear couples say, well, time heals all wounds.
Mm.
Well, according to your book, you would say that's not true, right?
No, definitely not. I mean, if you're not addressing it, then my wife's analogy is it's like if you were cleaning up your house, but rather than actually sweep it up and put it in the trash or get it out of your house, you're just putting it under the rug. And so maybe you don't notice like a little bit of dust that you put under there, but you are building that into a tripping hazard. And it's a very, very real thing. If you are thinking that time is going to be what heals it, well, you're just building up an emotional backpack, is another analogy. It feels like it can be resentment. Your needs aren't getting met. You feel like your partner doesn't care about you as much. They're not listening to you. You don't feel understood. It's like time is not repairing that. You need a process. You need to actually have repair conversations.
Well, so you talk about the backpack. So there is a compounding effect when we refuse to deal with the argument hangover. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah, definitely. When you're not dealing with repairing the source of the conflict, taking responsibility for the impact that your actions had, that's a place we can go because that's a little bit more difficult for, I think, men to kind of accept. We get into this place where, well, that's not my intention, or, you shouldn't have taken it that way. We do have to get to this place where we just, hey, I'm willing to hear out the role that I played and the impact that it had on you, whether I was intending that or not. And I can validate that's your experience and just look for where I can take ownership. I can own up. And then as we move through the process, we can also make some clear agreements so that in the future, that impact doesn't continue to happen. And that's when you can really bring repair. And now I know I'm jumping like pretty far ahead, but forgiveness is such an interesting thing, right? It's like we our goal is to be like Jesus, of course. And he forgives 7 times 7, which we know is just basically all the time. But as we work towards that, I think in a very real sense, forgiveness comes from I feel I can express the impact that my partner's actions had on me or caused the conflict. If they take ownership and take responsibility, but if it's something that's been recurring, for me to really feel safe to forgive, because some people hold back. I can't forgive because if I open myself up that way and it happens again, it's going to crush me. So forgiveness is also this part where my partner makes a promise or an agreement with me and they show consistency in keeping that. Now I can build my trust back up that the change is going to happen. Now I can kind of say, hey, I forgive and I let go of the past because I've also had the impact acknowledged and I also see that there was change and my partner is following through. And that's a big one for men. This idea of following through, not just doing what we say, but acting out, right? And being one of integrity to our word.
Tell me the lie. Tell me the lie behind this statement. We never fight.
Hmm.
What's the lie behind that statement? When couples say, "Oh, we never fight. We never have conflict."
It's not a question of if they're there or not. It's like, are you even having any real conversations? Now, I don't want a blanket statement that couples can be in a season in which, yeah, they're not fighting. But likely you're in that season because you've repaired all that there is to be repaired. You've made the agreements. You're actually following through. And so now you're really in a healthy place in which, yeah, we're not fighting. But most people mean some version of we never have any fights, meaning we're not really having the hard conversations. I'm not asking my partner, hey, let's sit down and have an honest discussion about where's your level of satisfaction in the major areas of our relationship? And is there a place that I can do better? It's like we're not willing to confront the places that we might not be meeting a certain standard or meeting the needs of our partner. So yeah, you can act like things are fine, but until you're actually addressing these things, do you get to a place where, yeah, we're not fighting, but we've done the work.
Now that's a really good statement. How about this advice? Sometimes parents give their kids. You mentioned this in your book. What's the lie in this one? Honey, you need to pick your battles.
I think there's a certain level of when we've communicated about things enough, if we've really addressed the hurts, if we've addressed what's unrepaired, if we've made agreements and we're mostly keeping to those. And that's something else maybe we can address that's not quite in the book, but there's this idea, right? In our coaching, men have this statement where it's like, stop questioning me on all of these things, or stop micromanaging me from other side of the room. Or why do you have to remind me all the time? I might as well just complete the statement. You can ask for your partner to not inquire or to not have to remind you all the time. But the question to you is, are you following through at like 95% of the time on the things you said you would do? If you're at like 40%, you can't ask your partner to not remind you. They don't have any trust that you're following through on things. So you really have to check your own self. If you're going to ask for, hey, I don't need all these reminders, and it's like, okay, well, have you been following through? Have you been giving, let's say, compliance yeses, or have you been actually committing to these things? Are you at a high level of follow through? If so, yeah, now I could take that into consideration. I do appreciate how much you've been following through. And okay, yeah, I can not remind you as often.
Okay, I must have missed this in the book because you used a phrase I don't remember hearing.
It's not in the book.
Talk to me about compliance yeses.
Yeah, that's a great point. I know I took us on a tangent.
No. That's good. I think because I do that all the time. Confession time.
Yeah.
Okay, honey, I'll take care of it. Okay.
So I also, I heard this, I think, from Gary Vee recently. He was talking about how not every A in school is equal, because it's about the effort that you really put in. Like, how much time did you put in on that? Or did you just, regurgitate some stuff? And it's very similar. Not all of our yeses are equal. Because if I hear from my wife Jocelyn about, here's a need she has, or here's a place that she has lower level of satisfaction, here's a request that she makes, and I just say yes. Well, I can say yes out of compliance because I'm just trying to get her off my back. I'm trying to get her just to move on past this conversation, rather than me saying I take it all in, and I'm saying yes because I'm actually committed to follow through on that. These are completely different yeses. The compliance yes leads to a slower degradation of trust because I'm likely not going to follow through on something I didn't actually mean.
That's a great explanation. So we hear this all the time. I've said it jokingly. Talk to me about this phrase, happy wife, happy life.
Again, there's parts of all these that are true.
No, I understand. I totally understand. Yeah.
For me, that whether you were to reverse that statement, even though it's not like a common one to say happy husband, happy life, it doesn't even rhyme, right? So, but it's about, you're not in a marriage to sacrifice or to suppress what you need. And there's a context of that phrase, happy wife, happy life, that is, you don't assert yourself. You don't share your own needs. You sacrifice what's important to you so that your partner can be happy. Well, your partner can be happy because you're meeting their needs, for example, but you could be completely unhappy. And ultimately, that's not going to lead to a happy life. If you sacrifice everything and your wife is technically happy, well, that's not leading to a happy life for you if you don't have the chance to be understood, to express, to have your needs met. And so it leads to an imbalance. And the thing other people don't think about, when our partners' needs are being met, we're following through, they feel loved, they naturally want to give that back to us. They want to know about how our life is going. That's very natural for women to be more concerned about connection, about nurturing, about relationships, about wanting to serve us in that way. And so if we're not expressing our needs, they don't get that opportunity. So how can they know? How can they know how to also give back to us that respect or that love that we're sharing them? So it doesn't allow for this kind of mutual growth where I add to your love account, you add to my love account. Now our life is happy because we're both fulfilled, we're both expressed, we're both connected.